Up to this point, we've covered 5 complete lessons. These lessons introduce some groundbreaking concepts, like the inverted nature of the world, core confidence versus situational confidence, the principle of comparison, and the idea of remaining unmoved. All these ideas have likely turned our previous understanding of life upside down. It's as if we've suddenly gained a much clearer view of our lives and the world around us. It's natural to think that now that we know these things, we should be able to live our lives successfully. But is that really the case? At the beginning of Lesson 6, I need to pour a cold bucket of reality on that assumption. Knowing these concepts, does it actually help? The answer is not really. You only know them. But in our lives, we've had countless experiences where we understood a lot of things, learned a lot of concepts, yet they didn't seem to make much difference when we actually tried to apply them. The results weren't always what we hoped for. Why didn't we experience the transformative change from earning thousands to earning millions or even billions? Why didn't we see those breakthroughs? What's missing? The answer is that there is a significant gap between knowing something and actually being able to do it. For me, it took 9 years to cross that threshold. I've already saved you that time, so what do you need to do? You need a year of training to go from knowing to doing. Let me repeat. From the moment you know these things to the moment you can do them, you still need a year of training. This course isn't something you can just watch. It's a training program. Earlier, we talked about the long journey from knowing to doing. What is this journey all about? Let me give you the answer. It's about gaining the support of your subconscious. Why is it that so often, despite wanting a certain outcome and working hard for it, we don't achieve it? Our rational mind tells us we want something, but unfortunately, our subconscious doesn't. It doesn't support us. Think about those who struggle with weight loss. You ask them if they want to lose weight, and of course, they say yes. They'll tell you about all the efforts they've made, the books they've bought, the products they've tried, and how they've fought this battle every day. But then you suggest skipping dinner and going for a long walk instead, and they come up with all sorts of reasons why they can't. Maybe they didn't eat much today, or they're tired. So how do you know if it's the rational mind that wants something or the subconscious? If it's just talk and no action, then it's the rational mind. The subconscious is what drives action. If you want to understand what your subconscious truly wants, you need to observe your actions. Here's the key. What your subconscious deeply desires will inevitably come true. Isn't that amazing? So what is it that your subconscious really wants? It's not success or wealth, it's avoiding losses. Shocking, isn't it? You might think you want success, but deep down your subconscious wants to avoid losing money. And what your subconscious wants will definitely happen. You'll probably lose far less money than someone like Bezos. You've succeeded in that, but success in business may remain elusive. For those people, success is almost inevitable because they're all in every single time. That's the difference between someone whose subconscious wants success and someone whose subconscious wants to avoid losses. Reflect on this, and you'll see the stark contrast. If you really want to achieve success, you need to understand what your subconscious desires. Let me give you another example. In relationships, when we're young, in our teens or 20s, we might fall in love and give it our all. We're not worried about anything else. We just go for it. But then we get hurt. People might say, "You were so foolish to give so much. What did you get in return?" So the next time we hold back. We give less, and with each new relationship, we become more guarded. By the time we're in our 30s, we might meet someone we like, but we're too self-protective. We give nothing, waiting for the other person to give first. When your rational mind is pulling in one direction, but your subconscious is pulling in the opposite, you'll struggle to move forward. But if you rewrite your subconscious, imagine how powerful that would be. Picture yourself walking forward, with 1,000 people behind you, all pushing in the same direction. That's what it feels like when your subconscious supports your goals. This course is all about rewiring that subconscious mind. There's a saying that the power of the subconscious is 1,000,000 times greater than that of the rational mind. So let's harness that power and make it work for us. But how do we rewrite the subconscious and get it on our side? We've talked about rewriting the subconscious, but how does the subconscious reveal itself? Our rational mind thinks one way, but our subconscious may not support it. How does it show? Through our actions, how we behave. Most of us believe that our actions are flawed, and that these flaws are why we don't get the results we want. We apologize, promise to change, and vow to improve, but nothing seems to change. From childhood through adulthood, we've been apologizing and promising to change. But why is it so hard to change? Here's the answer. If you understand the subconscious and the fundamental logic of psychology, you'll realize that trying to change your flaws directly is impossible. It's like fighting against nature. Imagine a tree with rotten roots. The rot will manifest in the trunk and leaves. Trying to fix the leaves won't work. You need to address the root of the problem. For instance, if someone has a hormonal imbalance, they might experience a range of symptoms, from acne to red eyes, bad breath, stomach issues, and even foot fungus. Trying to treat each symptom individually won't work. But if you fix the hormonal imbalance, all these problems will disappear. The same goes for mindset training. Once you reach a certain level, you'll notice your flaws start to disappear automatically. It's almost magical. Our environment influences us in different ways. If your environment is cold, lonely, and isolating, and someone else's is warm and friendly, the difference comes from your actions. If you act selfishly and annoy others, your environment will naturally be cold and lonely. If you're kind and giving, people will like you, and your environment will be warm. So, should we change our behavior to fix our environment? But as we've said, behavior is hard to change. So what should we do? We need to go deeper and find the root cause. What in our minds leads us to act the way we do? It all comes down to our values, beliefs, and principles, what we call our 3 views. Changing your 3 views will change your behavior, but it's not easy. Some people undergo a transformation in college, where 4 years of education and experience change their values. But altering these core beliefs is difficult. It's why many couples end up separating due to irreconcilable differences in their values. Now let's go even deeper. What determines our 3 views? It's something deeply ingrained in our subconscious called identity, the belief about who we are. This identity is not the same as our social identity, like our name, social security number, or occupation. It's about how we see ourselves in more abstract terms. Am I a confident person? Am I a charismatic person? Am I brave or fearful? Let's bring this to life with an example. Imagine I invite you to dance at a party, but you're shy and decline. You might say, "No, ask Tanner instead. He's outgoing. I'm just not that kind of person." This reflects your identity, who you believe yourself to be. But can this identity be changed? It's easier to change than you might think. It could take a few months or even a year, but it can be done. However, identity change is rooted in something even deeper: belief. Beliefs can be formed quickly, sometimes in just a few days, though finding the right belief to anchor to can be challenging. So here's the psychology chain. Our environment is shaped by our actions. Our actions are influenced by our values, which are rooted in our identity, and our identity is shaped by our beliefs. Once you establish a belief, your identity becomes clear. Once your identity is set, your values and actions will naturally follow, and your environment will change. Our training in this course is built on this chain. We won't just try to change your behavior, that's surface-level work. We'll focus on changing your identity, and the rest will follow. You don't need to worry about your flaws, they'll change automatically. Now let's delve even deeper into why the psychology chain works, how it modifies behavior, and how it ultimately leads to transformation. Let's start with an experiment conducted by psychologists. If a man were to approach a stranger on the street, which women do you think would respond more favorably? Those who are very attractive or those who are less so? Conventional wisdom might suggest that a less attractive woman would be more welcoming because she might be flattered by the attention, while a more attractive woman might be dismissive. But in reality, the results are quite the opposite. The more attractive a woman is, the more friendly and approachable she tends to be. Why? Because a woman who knows she is attractive subconsciously believes that people approach her purely out of admiration for her charm and attractiveness. This belief makes her open and friendly. On the other hand, a less attractive woman might subconsciously suspect that the man has some ulterior motive, leading her to respond more guardedly or even harshly. This is an automatic reaction from her subconscious. I've experienced something similar. There was a woman at the gym where I worked out who was very dedicated. I would see her there almost every time I went. We became familiar faces to each other, though we had never spoken. One day, I finally approached her and said with a smile, "Finished your workout?" Her response was sharp, "Can't you see I just started?" I was taken aback, but I realized that her reaction wasn't intentional. It was her subconscious at work. This example illustrates how powerful the subconscious mind is. When someone believes deeply that they are attractive, that belief influences their behavior and makes them appear even more attractive. If you believe you are charismatic, your actions will naturally reflect that belief. But if you believe you lack charm, your actions will reflect that too. So who am I? Am I someone with charisma or without it? Your answer to this question influences your entire worldview, and your worldview, in turn, dictates your actions. This is what I call the reality framework. Each of us is constantly trying to maintain the reality framework we've constructed in our minds. If you see yourself as someone without charisma, you'll act in ways that confirm that belief, even to your own detriment. But there's a way to influence others using this concept. Whether you're a leader trying to inspire your team or a parent trying to encourage your child, there's a simple method. Praise them for qualities they don't yet fully possess. If your child is lazy, don't scold them for it. Instead, praise them for being diligent, even if it's only for a small action. Reinforce this positive identity until it becomes their reality. Over time, they will internalize this praise and start to live up to it. I've used this method countless times, and it works because it aligns with the psychological chain we've been discussing. When you believe in someone's potential, they start to believe in it too, and their actions will follow. This isn't just a technique, it's a mindset. I truly believe that every one of my students can succeed, and this belief helps them achieve their goals. So, what is the reality framework you've built for yourself, and how can we rewrite it? This is crucial because your reality framework shapes everything about your life, including your ability to succeed. We've talked a lot about rewriting the subconscious, but how do we actually do it? The first thing to understand is that you can't force it. You can't just repeat a phrase and expect it to stick. The rewriting process is automatic and happens naturally. Let's dispel a common misconception: positive affirmations. Many people think that if they just repeat positive statements to themselves, they can change their subconscious. But this often backfires. If you keep telling yourself, "I am charismatic, I am confident, I am successful," without truly believing it, you're actually reinforcing the opposite in your subconscious. Think about it. You don't need to tell yourself, "I can eat this bowl of oatmeal," because it's something you naturally believe you can do. But if you have to convince yourself, it means there's doubt. And when you try to convince yourself of something you don't believe, your subconscious picks up on that doubt. Instead of instilling confidence, you're reinforcing insecurity. So how do we effectively rewrite the subconscious? The key is in how you approach challenges. When you face a difficult situation, remind yourself of two things: it's inevitable and it's temporary. These 6 words form the foundation of a strong mindset. When you believe that success is inevitable, you approach challenges with a calm confidence. You understand that setbacks are temporary and part of the process. This mindset helps you stay grounded and prevents fear from taking over. Let me give you an example from my own life. Recently, my trainer asked me to do a box jump that was quite high, about 4 feet. At 52, that's a significant height. He explained that it was more a mental challenge than a physical one. I knew I had the ability, but the height was intimidating. So I applied the mindset we're discussing. I told myself, "It's inevitable. I can do this. And if I don't make it, it's just temporary. I'll try again." I focused on removing fear and giving my best effort, and guess what? I made the jump. Then he set up an even higher box, almost 5 feet. Again, I approached it with the same mindset. It's inevitable, it's temporary, and gave it my all. I barely made it, just scraping the top, but I did it. The lesson here is that your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. Once you remove fear and doubt, you can achieve things you never thought possible. In the next lessons, we'll dive deeper into how to naturally imprint the right thoughts into your subconscious. It's not about forcing anything. It's about letting the process happen naturally and trusting that your subconscious will align with your goals.